Hey guys, this is N7 Kate, and I'm going to bring you today my very first review, that is Mass Effect. Yay! So I'm going to review the first game. This is my first video, so hopefully my review won't be too long. I have a lot I want to say, but anyway, so let's get started. So I have a list here of things I'm going to go through. And yeah, I'll try and keep this pretty well organized. I'll try not to waffle and go on too much. Can't promise anything, but I'll try my best. So right, let's begin with the review. So Mass Effect is probably my favorite game of all time at the moment. Yeah, it's my favorite game, so I'm super excited to review this. So I'm going to start, and one of the reasons it is like such an amazing game is because of the story. The story of Mass Effect 1 in particular is fantastic. It's such a great universe. The designers that created the Mass Effect universe are so talented, and the entire universe is so broad, so varied, so interesting. The idea of the Mass Effect, the Citadel, the mass relays, the Protheans, the Reapers, and all the species within the galaxy. It's just such a colourful, varied universe in which to work in. And reading the codex, I spent hours and hours reading the codex about all the different species and the different parts of the galaxy, and really the amount of time and effort that went into it is incredible. I love sci-fi. I'm a huge fan of sci-fi, but what I really liked about what Mass Effect did differently was many of the sci-fis, humans are kind of the center, and I loved that in Mass Effect the human race was kind of new for the universe, and that the rest of the galaxy kind of saw the human race as like teenagers, and that they were young and they didn't really know any better, and that so there was this kind of like, not for some races maybe animosity, but this kind of like humans really had to kind of prove themselves to the rest of the galaxy. And yeah, I really loved that. I really loved that whole dynamic of humans being like the young species, and the other species kind of looking down on them. And I thought that was really great, how that begins in Mass Effect 1. And then obviously as you progress into Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3, the other species start to respect humans more and realize their worth or their value. But I love that, completely turning that on its head in Mass Effect 1, and it was a really interesting way to introduce this universe and introduce your Shepard's role within it. I thought it was really great. The story of Mass Effect 1 is so detailed and so well written. Obviously you start off with Shepard. It's the beginning of Shepard's story, and you arrive on Eden Prime, and right from the beginning, of seeing Sovereign taking off and going, oh my god, what the hell is that? And watching it take off, and you're like, that's crazy. And seeing Eden Prime and all the way through Eden Prime, and then Feros and the Thorian, and Noveria and Benezia and the Black Knight Queen, and then obviously picking up Liara on Therum, and Vermeer, and then to Ilos, and just the entire story was so well written, so well developed, and I loved how it was kind of a with each kind of main story mission that you did, you kind of got little bits of the puzzle. You're finding out a little bit more, and at first you think, Siren is the big bad. He's the guy that you have to take out, but you realize actually he's a small part, and it starts to reveal this bigger picture of the Reapers and them being this huge, massive threat to the galaxy. And I loved how you had to kind of like get little parts of the puzzle to make sense of Shepard's vision, and then find the conduit and to Ilos. And so the entire story of things becoming a bit clearer, and then after Vermire it being kind of a race against time to get to Ilos, and then from Ilos to get to the Citadel to stop Siren opening up the Citadel and with Sovereign and allowing the Reapers to come back. And so the entire story of Mass Effect 1 is just so good, and I know that they're in the process of writing and making a Mass Effect movie. I think it's really clever of them to choose Mass Effect 1 as the story for the movie, because it is just such a good story from start to finish, and there really is kind of a resolution at the end, but obviously it leaves it very open, obviously, for Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3, so I think it's very clever that they're doing that within the movie. So the story is just epic. I loved that obviously it's Shepard's story, and obviously your Shepard is very different depending on what background you chose and what choices you made throughout the story. And that's one of the things that really makes BioWare stand out from other game developers is they give you so much choice, and you feel completely immersed in the game, as you're playing it, and you're making you have all these difficult choices to make, and you're like, oh my god, do I kill the Rachni Queen? Do I let her live? What's going to happen if I do that? Do I save the council? Do I let them die? Oh my god, what consequences is that going to lead? So it's really cool that you get to you become Shepard. Shepard is like an extension of yourself, and my Shepard in this case, my very first canon, well, for me, Shepard was Femme Shepard. I've played both Femme and Male Shepard, and I'm a bigger supporter of Femme Shepard. Obviously, I'm sure there are Male Shepards out there, but I think Jennifer Hale just nailed it. She's such a good voice actress, and she really brought Shepard to life for me. And so obviously, when I probably talk about these movies, I'm probably going to say her, because that is my Shepard. Not to criticize your guys' Shepards, but I'm probably going to talk about my Shepard with regards to these reviews. And anyway, so I loved how the whole way through Mass Effect 1, the story it's all about the struggle of it's just so much frustration for my Shepard, and she's discovering all this, the threat of Siren, and Siren, being controlled by Sovereign, and trying to bring back, the Reapers, and the whole way through the game, it's it's you, saving the galaxy with your team with you, but you're constantly struggling, fighting for your life. You're being attacked the whole way through the game, and by the Geth, and then and at the same time you've got the council and them refusing to believe you and refusing to act, and you're just oh my god, seriously, just do something. And you really feel that frustration for that character and that struggle. So when Sovereign attacked the Citadel, I shouted at my TV, I freaking told you, he's right in front of you, oh my god. And yeah, so I felt that frustration with Shepard, and you know, and that struggle of having to overcome all these setbacks that happen and all this frustration. And so, you know, you really feel a huge sense of triumph, you know, at the end of Mass Effect 1 when you beat Sovereign and you destroy Sovereign despite all the odds. And so yeah, I mean, the first reason why Mass Effect 1 is just such a good game is the story is so good. Really good story. I mean, that's why it's so easy to play this through multiple times, because the story is so good. So that's my first point, the story. The second point why Mass Effect is just such a good franchise is the characters. The characters are just so three-dimensional. They're just, you know, the writers just, and the animators and the voice actors, the whole thing, the characters just come to life. You just, you know, you grow to love and hate, and despise and loathe and love all these characters, and that's really, you know, why Mass Effect is just such a great game. It's just so much about the story, but also about, you know, character development, you know, as you get to know these characters throughout the game, and you know, you get to really love them and they become a part of your crew, and yeah, and that's so good. It's so rare, I guess. And so, I mean, there are other games that have done that, but Mass Effect does it just so well. So obviously I'm going to talk about the characters. The thing that makes Mass Effect 1 really great is the fact that the villains are so good. Siren and Benezia as well is also good, but Siren is a villain. Just, oh my god, it's so good. The guy that, I don't know his name, but the voice actor for Siren is just so good. He's got evil down. But yeah, Siren is such a good character, such a good villain, because he's so complex. Like, he is a villain, but his reason for, like, you know, joining Sovereign is because he wants to save the galaxy. And I think it's really interesting that, like, he's almost like Shepard in a way. You know, he's a Spectre, obviously, and you know, he's a really charismatic character. You know, he's very good at, you know, getting other races to, you know, other people to join him. You know, like, you know, he got Benezia to join him, and the Geth. You know, just like Shepard is very good at getting, you know, like all the different races, you know, Garrus and Rex and Liara and Tali and everybody to join her, and so Siren is like that. He's like, you know, he's a Spectre. He'll get the job done. You know, he's very strong, you know, soldier, and he's, you know, he's doing it for you know, he's joining someone because he thinks it's the only way to save the galaxy, and so I love that. I love villains that are not black and white. You know, I'm not a huge fan of black and white villains. I love villains that are grey, that, you know, that are flawed and kind of, you know, start out with good intentions, but ultimately, you know, become corrupted by those good intentions, or start to, you know, start to fall. And I guess you see that with Siren. You know, his you know, from the beginning of the game, and you don't see much of him in Prime, but you know, you see how he starts out like, you know, certain, like, I'm you know, trying to convince Shepard, you know, I'm doing this to save the galaxy. You know, this is the only way we can survive. We have to, you know, join Sovereign, and you know, we can't fight the Reapers. It's impossible.